A relationship is like two strands of the DNA. As DNA is the essence of love in physical form, the unity of two become one out of an openness and longing to create as one. Eventually, the form of these pure and balanced unities create the flower of life as itself, and with that the ability to manifest worlds.
Good morning everybody, and welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobbie Richardson and I will be your guide for today. I am going to channel some messages through. I don't know what they're about yet. I just feel this yearning to record and to figure out as I go what these messages are about. Now, okay, they're straight away coming in anyway. The energies are extremely intense at the moment. It is a feeling of a genuine stepping up of one's reality, and there's all sorts of things happening with different people and the scenarios of what they're going through. So it's very jumbled in the family dynamics. One might be healing or purging old wounds from childhood. Another might be stepping into learning to create their own reality. Another one might actually be physically grounding that beautiful, blissful reality into their life. And they're each teaching each other as they go through the dynamics of the family. And then the one that's purging might start to feel into the path that they want to create. And then the one that has been creating might have tripped up over a bit of a blockage and then go back into purging and bringing that up again. So there's this incredible dynamic that's happening within the soul family and the families and the tribes, ping-ponging back and forth, and the energies to have a fuller understanding of and self-awareness of themselves and become more authentic to who you are. And with this purging and learning to create, and purging and learning to create, and learning to ground, and learning to see the results, and then seeing what the results are when we're not in line, and all of that's mixing up and going on. It's like we're becoming more in tune with our feelings, more in tune with each other's feelings, recognizing when somebody's going through a purging, because you've gone through it yourself recently, and so you have an understanding of that's what's happening, rather than just getting angry with each other and pointing the finger and pointing blame. Just allowing the people around you and your family and the ones that you love to go through their own journey, and knowing full well that you're going through yours, that there's no one better than or less than, depending on what's happening. So then there's an acceptance of release, there's an acceptance of emotions, there's an acceptance of allowing something to come forward. So that was a really powerful message just for now that's going on. This is okay, they're saying it's not just for now, this is going to go on for a while longer, and we're talking even into the years, but it will get easier and easier and better at recognizing the ebb and flow of energy that we're working with. This is a very intense moment though at the moment. The next couple of months, or month and couple of months, probably, okay, now they're saying 3 months. So depending on the person, because it's like a very tight, they show me like a tight squeeze of ourselves, like almost a sponge, where all the stuff that didn't work, when you squeeze it, all the toxicity just oozes out of the pores of the sponge. When we come back, we've still got a bit of toxicity in there, but we're feeling clearer, and that's allowing us to feel again, like to truly feel what it's like to be a human, and acknowledge our empathy for life, for ourselves. And then they said that there will be a seed that will grow in the center of that sponge, and the seed will start to branch out into leaves and be a unique you. And that is valuable to this world in this moment, because we are shifting, we're changing it up. We're shifting our reality. Even the ones that are so-called pushing us into corners and so forth, showing us our strength by being our nemesis, and then we're realizing that we can be like water and move around them. They can never hold the whole of the entirety of the universe in logic and rule and law, everything. It can never be possible. That's like saying that logic is more important than God itself or source energy itself, and yet logic is part of source energy's journey through the dynamics of being human. So there is always a way around things, and it's just the clearing of our own, or the peeling back of our own self-diagnosing our own blocks, that will actually allow us to see with clarity the true path that is empowering us, supporting us, bringing the right people together, starting to be brave enough to put food out on the out on your footpath and share it with the world for free, starting to any access that you have to be able to share, to not feel like you need to overprotect yourself with monetary gain and stuff, and hoard and insurance and stuff. We're learning to release and trust our own sovereign knowing of who we are and the strength of who we are, so that we can become powerful leaders within our own right of the reality that we're creating. Each and every one of us has a unique reality that we're carving a path through to experience, and it will collaborate with others that are on similar paths, but it's not necessarily the exact same path, because we filter through different knowings of our soul's lineage, and this body and the story that we've done from birth to now anyway. So that in itself is very unique. There's not one leaf on a tree that is going to be the same as another leaf. That's why when the powers to be try to copycat absolutely everything, there's a sort of something missing, and humanity knows that there's something. It's like perfection, but there's no growth in absolute perfection. No growth. It just is a copycat of the next, and so it's in our flaws and our acceptance of our emotions, and being able to express them, then we have a greater understanding and uncompassionate love for each other that flows through the accepting it within ourselves. So we're no longer pointing the finger, we're just trusting that those people going through that, we understand it because we've gone through it ourselves, and trusting that they are going to be that they're there to be supportive of us, and we're supportive of them in moments. And it's never going to be like, I'm always the one that's supporting now, or I'm always the one that's grasping at someone to help me. It's going to be more of a ebb and flow within our own self, of accepting when we need support, accepting when we need to give, or we have an overflow of energy to give, or material stuff to give, whatever it is. It doesn't matter, it's still really energy. And that's in itself going to start creating and creating this new world, this new beautiful world that we're coming into. Just the fact that we start to see the reflection of our own energy and purging our own crap, and realizing things that don't suit us, that aren't empowering us, or thoughts that aren't empowering us, people that aren't empowering us, to fall away, allowing us to become an expression of God itself, going on a beautiful journey, and we become the next step into higher frequency, and because we're trusting and supporting who we are. So someone can come up and try to push you down again, or put put you down again. And it really truly is like water off a duck's back. It's just an understanding that they're trying to purge their own energy and project it onto you. So it's best to just let them do that on their own, because when you leave them on their own, they have to look at themselves. They have to go inward in their inner journey, and that is helping guide them as well. So there is always a time when you start to understand your own intuition, when to leave people alone, when to tell them no, you don't go, you know, don't follow me and my path, trust your own path, that sort of thing. And being brave enough to be able to come forth with that and say it's from my heart, because you want everyone to become uniquely beautiful and in their own right and follow their own path, because that's where the wholeness, that's where the higher dimensions are. If somebody's copycatting somebody else or trying to find by grasping and follow another, then it becomes an unstable footing for themselves. So you never really truly find out how precious and unique and needed that they are in this world. So let me just tap in a bit more and see if anything else comes up. Whew, that just went straight up. I knew that there was a message there. Feel into that, see if there's anything else that they want to bring up. Okay, they're saying that they knew I wanted to bring up more wisdom of telepathy, what telepathy is more about. So that's they're telling me that information on many gifts that are just naturally going to start occurring when we start to clear our energy and start to explore and go down new adventures and new paths that we haven't even tried before, because we just thought we would just be condemned by the outside society for even trying, and that we've had many programs of movies where people have tried and they've become horror stories. You know, they've had powers and ended up becoming the villain, or too much powers, and it wrecked their life, their normal life. That is the program pulled over our eyes. It doesn't work that way. When we clear our stuff, when we start to become more in tune with who we are, we start to have newer gifts like empathy that turn into telepathy, and being able to understand that our outside world is part of who we are, that there's a synergy that happens between being able to manipulate and not manipulate, well, it is kind of a manipulation, but that this card is an extension of who I am, and so I can then levitate it and stuff like that, that my body isn't just bound by the laws of gravity anymore. There's all these new things that are going to come our way, but it is a process of clearing so much that we're no longer ruled by the fraction of the old program at all, which expands our adventure and our curiosity into new dynamics of understanding who we are, that we aren't just a physical body, that we literally are source energy, God itself, driving through an avatar. And you can say that, but to actually fully integrate that into your psyche and have a fuller understanding of it is when we start to be able to recognize that everything outside of us is part of our own creation, and so we can then ask it to do things outside of its program as well, because we're expanding outside of this limited logical program, and we're asking to change it up. So then all this kind of magic starts to occur, where telepathy, telekinesis, teleportation, I call them the 3 T's instead of the 3 R's, and that's in the higher frequencies, astral traveling, what else is there? There's just so much magic that can be held in the wisdom of everything because we start to see ourselves just as pure essence of who we are. What else have I got to say? You'll start to see it in the strength of others that are becoming uniquely themselves and not worrying about how the world is wanting them to be, or their parents or their relatives. When you start to see that happening within others, it gives those people are giving you an opportunity to see it within yourself. So then you become that other people start to see, and that's how we start to grow this beautiful world outside of something self-sabotaging, over-consuming world that we were living. Because it was only like that because we were out of balance with our own minds, and not trusting who we are fully, not trusting our intuition or our imagination, or telling our logic that it's worthless as well. Either way, doesn't matter. You're out of balance. It's the whole of everything and the uniqueness that we have, the ability to be able to have full understanding of logic, taking us through a birth to death lineal story, in a program where we don't necessarily put our finger through this card, and we can hold it and feel it. Then you can feel it because you can't put your finger through it, and then have a fuller understanding of that we are source energy, God working through this. So then we can choose to say, hey, now I'm going to become source energy and just put my finger through this card in this moment and express that. See, I'm even Bobbie herself, even myself, is still clearing and purging, and then creating, and then grounding, and then clearing and purging and creating and grounding, and constantly. Never underestimate the power of moving forward through things. Never see yourself as fully perfect, because that is where you stagnate, where you cap, where you say that is as far as I can go. There is always something else to learn outside yourself, because that was the adventure that Source Energy wanted to go on in the first place. Source Energy literally wanted to go on an adventure of self-exploration of what love could produce. And in finding that, they had to understand what the lesser or lack of love produced. And so we're actually gone through that. Humanity's gone through that lack or less of what love could produce. Finding that it was only ending us in a result of going around in circles or self-consuming, just consuming ourselves, killing each other off and consuming our outside world. And it wasn't conducive. We weren't happy. It didn't feel good. It didn't make us feel good at all. And now it's coming back into the balance of seeing that for what it is, and the lack of, and have a fuller understanding of what love really is and what it can create when we start to focus in on exactly what we want in our reality. And this is purging, is allowing us to open a pathway to have a fuller understanding of what we can actually create. That it's unended, unlimited possibilities, and our logic will just go, what? Unlimited? What is that even? I can't compartmentalize an unlimited expansion. So it wants to keep capping things, and we say, no. Let us explore. Let us see a little bit of lack, so that we can understand the full power of what it is to create through love. So I can sort of feel at the moment I have beings in my mind coming in, my guides, my team. So Pleiadian, Arcturian messages coming through here. Almost like there's more of them as well, isn't it? It's not just Pleiadian, Arcturian. It's almost like there's ones that are like, we're here too. but from a place that I haven't heard of the name Tantara. I haven't heard of the name, and my logic's stopping me from expressing that name. But there is other beings there that are wise, very, very wise as well. And it's like a team, a soul team that comes through. But then sometimes it's like I'm talking to you and channeling this message through, and then all of a sudden my awareness of my higher self will go, oh, yeah, of course I know that. And then I'm talking from my higher self. But this is the expansion, not limiting ourselves and capping, oh, it's just one being, or it's just, just my higher self even. It's just allowing whatever it is to flow, and trust that those messages are the truth and the right thing to say in the moment. So just helping you to become more aware of your own abilities to feel into. So we feel, they give it through to me as a feeling, and then I interpret it in my own language. It's just allowing all to be expressed, and know that if it's coming from your heart and the love for yourself and everyone outside, you cannot go wrong. And it's kind of like in the old program, we would be taught that if we expanded outside, it would be there's a fear there, because the logic was in charge, and it is a fear for logic to expand outside of its perimeter, and a fear of not being able to be sane, and that we'll be lost souls, we'll just be schizophrenic, not grounding the energy. But when it's coming from our heart and expressing them, we love who we are when we do it, then there is no reason to cap that, because anything is possible in the eyes of source energy, God itself, prime creator. And if we want to become more of ourselves and love our life and expand outside of a program that gives us misery and self-consumerism, then why not have a crack at, so long as you're coming from your heart and expressing for the benefit of yourself and everyone else. That is trusting who you are, right? Yeah. See if there's any other messages. Okay, so back to telepathy. It's only when you can have a fuller understanding of yourself and who you are, and loving that uniqueness, the flaws, the beauty, everything like that, that you then can feel or have compassion for others, because you're no longer blaming them for anything, and so that feeling can collaborate with another person's perception of their reality. And you would, like, your logical brain will go, oh, that's the same as mine, that's the same as mine, and then they'll be like, oh, whoa, I didn't that's interesting. So you've expanded your reality to higher wisdom when you start to converse with telepathy. And it doesn't just stop from when you have this ability to trust yourself enough to be able to merge with another and feel into their reality as well. And have a fuller understanding of that it expands to every life form. It's not just humans, it just naturally is what it is, telepathy. They're like, if someone can have a telepathic conversation with another human, they can also have a conversation with a flower. just because it comes from feeling and the fact that we're all source energy creating an adventure. A fuller understanding could be accounted by somebody who's worked with flowers more in their past lives, or trees or whatever, or plants, or animals, or Gaia herself. So you can have a fuller understanding of what you're feeling and being able to put that into words and comprehend it all. So we all have our own unique path of that fuller understanding of who we are to begin with, and how we assimilate the wisdom and express it. That is our uniqueness. But telepathy is telepathy. It is for it goes across the board for everything. It is or it isn't. It is you not knowing who you are and holding your cards close to yourself and not trusting anything outside of who you are, so that you become very self-consumed and out of balance, trying to grasp anyone to help, and not thinking that you're good enough to be able to receive any information other than what somebody's just logically copy and pasted onto your lap, and then you go, okay, well, that's the truth because they said it and they wrote it in a book and they told me in a university, so that has to be the truth. And then you're kind of all following the same very limited truth. Or you know thyself, know who you are, trust who you are, and start to trust the feelings, your feelings, and then when you can feel when you're tapping in with somebody and having this playful, loving energy. You can only do that through love anyway, because as soon as you take love away, it is the limitation of yourself again, because it's unbalanced. You're only following logic. You're not allowing intuition and your imagination to play even a small role in your life. So you're lost and you confound. You've kept yourself. That's exactly what happened with humanity when we had the fall happen to us. We were swift through our guilt of what had happened, out of balance, and then we decided we're only going to follow where the energies that were coming was, we just want to know more about logic. So logic was the thing. Logic. How does creating something outside of myself physically in this world work? How can I do it without mucking everything else up? How can I do it being in charge? So it became warped and out of balance, and that was the cat, because we were no longer trusting our connection to our soul, our source energy, the guidance, the feelings, the compassion of knowing that everything was part of who we were in the first place. So so they're trying to get us to have a fuller understanding of what the actual fall was in humanity, so that we can have an awareness of how to bring it back, and that is through balance of our whole psyche. They're showing me a king and a queen and being the creators of your reality and what that looks like for you, and that unique path. They just keep bringing back to taking the reins back to being the leading actress of your life, trusting that game. So thank you very much. I think I'll leave it there until the next time. Love and light, guys, and stay true to yourself, right? Bye.